Mimi Hume, who is part of our wonderful English faculty here at GTC, is going to share a little bit about us, examples of AI plagiarism from across the curriculum. And I know she's been working with quite a few individuals, especially in the English department, on what to do about those examples of plagiarism. So, Mimi, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Okay, thank you very much. Can you hear me? Okay. All right, so my name is Mimi Hume. A lot of you might know me already. I've been in the English department for 18 years. I've also taught in California and Arizona, and I consider myself an expert on student writing as far as at the community college level, at least. And that's, maybe I can do some things good, but that I'm pretty good at. So let's keep going. So what I'm really concerned with here, this is a different focus than some of the others, but just being in the trenches, I want to make sure that the academic excellence of Greenville Tech that we have a reputation for continues. I want the students to learn. I want to have them come away with the knowledge that they need to do their jobs, whether they're doctors or nurses or scientists or English teachers. So some of the things I worry about a little bit as far as some of the AI use that we've been seeing as far as when we've been looking at plagiarism, which we've seen a lot of in all across arts and sciences. One of the things is equitable education. Some students are technologically sophisticated, they know how to use AI, and they can afford to pay for resources, and they're willing to cheat. We've seen lots and lots of those. Then there are students who are not technologically savvy or socioeconomically secure, so that whether they're willing to cheat or not are adversely affected by the lack of access. And then those are the students who are good students, but would never use AI to pass it off as their own. They would use it, we can all use it. We all enjoy using it. I love playing with it. But if there's an assignment and they're supposed to write a paper and show their knowledge about some topic, and they just put it into ChatGPT, it comes back in less than about 30 seconds. They can have a pretty okay essay. So those are the things I worry about. Okay, whoops, where's my thing? There it is. Okay, so I sent this out 3 weeks ago, I think, and I looked at it for a week and a half or something. So I collected some numbers about AI misuse and I sent it to Arts and Sciences full-time and part-time and Faculty Senate. And I looked at some numbers about AI misuse. And anything anyone wanted to add or tell me about that. I mean, people tell me things all the time, but when you send out a group email, not very many people respond all the time because we have a lot of work. We're very, very busy. All right, so 20 people responded. There were 150 confirmed instances. And then there were some answers like some of the math students have exactly the same solution and mistakes in their equations. Some people were like, it's hard to figure it out. Some said they had a whole bunch more in the summer. Some said it was hard to identify them. They say what they're doing is Grammarly, et cetera, et cetera. So I got a lot of answers. And the one thing I would like to say about looking at these answers, it's really not that hard to identify, especially for our level of students. We have some excellent writers here, but not very many. And so I'll show you an example. I think that's what I'm doing next. Yeah, no. Okay, so this is some AI plagiarism tell. So we're looking at writing, and that's what I'm talking about, and showing knowledge of something that's been learned and it's coming from a student's brain. That's what I want to see. Well, if I'm seeing an AI paper, which I've seen many now, a lot of times they have lots of parallel structure, which means we came, we fought, we conquered. I'll show you an example of that in a minute. Sometimes the essays are presented not in the format that they're supposed to be in, like whether it's MLA, APA, whatever it is, it's presented in a different kind of format. There's very few grammatical errors, almost none. In the summer of 23, all of a sudden I thought, wow, these students are we didn't know. That's when we first formed the Faculty Senate AI committee, and we started looking at all these things and doing a lot of research and looking at what other schools are doing and all this other kind of stuff. So that's when we started noticing grammatically error-free writing. Especially one thing I want to point out, sentences that seem informative but are not specific. I've been talking to students about this recently. It's like they're circling what they're supposed to be talking about without giving the exact example of the problem, the story, the essay they read or whatever. They're not really giving any specificity there. Another thing, what you can actually, if you go to chat, put your own essay prompt in and have it write your essay, and then you keep that. That's useful for you later. Sometimes they have an undeveloped conclusion. The words in the sentences are put together in like a highly probable fashion. There's longer sentences, and a lot of, let's see, well, like we can expect what's coming, but there's not very much specificity, and there's no outside sources sometimes, or there's sources that seem dropped in with no discussion or analysis, or made up sources. I asked a student, it was Monday, did you, who he had as an in-text citation which said a source. And I said, who's this guy? And he said, he must be one of the sources. And then I said, well, it's not in your works cited list. And he said, oh, I don't know who it is. Well, that's worrisome. Okay, because that's not from him. Obviously, he doesn't know what he wrote at all. Okay, additional information not related to the writing prompt, word choices elevated. That's one of the main things you can definitely tell. But let me show you an example. Whoops, I keep clicking the wrong thing. Forgot about that. All right, this is a girl, a student, and she wrote this in one of her discussion board posts. I'm going to start in the middle because I don't want to read the whole thing, but just so I can show you her how she writes. Shows credibility. I am quite the binge watch movies and TV. I'm in complete agreement that diversity is greatly beneficial to the quality of these movies. Seeing different faces and places with different accents makes for a great movie. Adele is enough. It is more offensive to play the part of another race as opposed to stereotyping the races. Okay, got it. So moving on to her final, a later essay that she turned in, which it was entirely AI. Okay. Also, look at the middle. You can just listen to a little bit of the way it sounds and how it looks. Through these encounters, this is about, oh, did I say that? Alice's Adventures in Wonderland. Okay, through these encounters, however, Carol explores complex themes of childhood identity and the nature of language and authority. The book's strength truly lies in its playful and inventive use of language. So if you see childhood identity and the nature of language and authority, that's what parallel structure is. Carol uses witty wordplay, clever puns, and nonsensical poems. Okay, great. Where are they? Show us those wordplay. Show us that clever pun. What do you even? So it's circles. It talks about it. It has lots of good points. It never gets into the actual meat of the thing. Also, additionally, Carol's book dives into physiological themes through apparent simple narratives that are easy to follow. So I said, okay, that doesn't sound like her, and then put it through to AI detectors. It was, and then talked to her, and she immediately caved. Which I'm not the type of person who's looking to catch people doing things. In fact, when I hear a siren, I'm like, are they coming for me now? Oh no. So, but I want them to learn. So that's how that ended up. Okay. I'm not going to read this, but this is from the biology department and is 100% AI detected. And this person is, I want my scientists, I want them to know about what water does rather than just to write this. There's lots of stuff here, but the student didn't write it. They just put the question in and they didn't learn it and they didn't read it. So they don't know it. That's the problem with it. Okay. And, a lot of people say, oh, we're looking at AI, we embrace it. There's different types though. I think it's fantastic. I love the whole AI thing. But if we are teaching a topic like how to write a nursing or a nursing essay, or how to do a nursing plan, or teaching medieval literature class, and we want to be focusing on the literature and them learning about that. So that's what we want to be focusing, not on ChatGPT, not on Grammarly, or whatever. However, we need to show that we know it. So this is one of the most important things. We need to learn more about it. We need to show them students examples of it, show what appropriate uses and what inappropriate uses there are for AI. I don't remember what's next. Oh, okay. So prevention. This has two kinds of prevention. One is the prevention of, if they do something wrong later, we can prove that they did it wrong. Not that, that's the main focus of our lives, because we really don't want to do that if we don't have to. And the other is to ways to have chat or AI proof assignments, of which there are none. Just pointing that. It's really hard to have an AI proof. You can do almost anything with it. It's amazing. It'll do a lot. Okay. I have a sample writing assignment at the beginning of class in class. Then I can compare that to something later. For online students, they use their introductions. I think using proctored exams and face-to-face tests is obviously optimal. I already said that. So we could take one class, let's say, to look at an AI essay on the assignment's topic, look at what ideas need to be cited, which are because they are not common knowledge, and which need to show real examples of the point, so that we know that they know that we know, like I said, that there might be doing. Okay. Focus on the process of writing instead of just the answer. So rather than the completed product or answer, we're really focusing on, the processes and pieces of it and putting it together so that they're doing it. There's these AI misuse rubrics out there. I have several. They examine you can put them next to your assignment and they'll tell you how high the potential for AI misuse is in your assignment. For online, discussion board posts with several integrated parts that focus not on an essay answer, short answer, and face-to-face classes. Obviously, in-class discussion planning, pre-writing, and writing is optimal to avoid plagiarism, this kind. Okay, this is what we do in the English department right now. And every department is different. And of course, you have different ways. Teachers at our college have different ways of using AI in their classroom. Some classes are much more friendly to it, or because it's useful and helpful, and they're not using it as instead. Okay, so first I look at the students' writing and I think to myself, okay, that doesn't sound like Johnny. And so I put it through a couple of AI detectors, and then I look at that. Then I fill out, if I decide, yes, this is definitely it. AI, I fill out an academic misconduct referral form ahead of time. And then I ask for a meeting with the student, and I ask someone to join the meeting with me, my department head or someone else. And I've also had the meetings by myself because I couldn't find anyone. It's fine. It's fine with me. Tell them what I'm doing. Like, let's say I'm going to give them a 0 on the assignment. So, but if they don't respond to the assignment within a few days, I just put the AMRF in, send to the dean without the student's signature, CC the student and the department head. And I can't do anything with them to help them or change anything if they're not going to speak to me. Sometimes they like to hide. And now this is how what it usually happens. I'm very kind of nice. So I talk to the students about, I don't try to make them feel bad. I say, I'm not mad at you or anything like that, but this is what this is. And you can't use this way. So I asked him some questions. I asked a student some questions the other day he wrote about a play. He wrote all this stuff about the play. I said, well, what is the play about though? And he's like, nodding his head. And I said, well, what is it about? The play itself, like this 5-page essay he wrote. He hadn't read the play. So, and it was clear. Then I went on to there, explained a lot of things about, what we were going to do about it and stuff like that. But that's the problem, Okay, so, and then if the meeting's Zoom, record the meeting. I have that recording. It's very interesting. Show the student the AMRF via the screen share, et cetera, scan it to the same thing, dean, and CC your department head and the student. Okay, so let me see, what's next? This is just an academic integrity pledge that we use in the English department. Tell them, okay, read the stuff, sign it, about it. The Grammarly's AI formatting and information capabilities and ChatGPT, if they are allowed. If they are not allowed, you may not use them. At least they know. And we're changing this in the what did we call it? The task? I think it's called. We're called task force now. And turning it into an academic integrity contract. I'm not sure the changes exactly, but this can be used if anyone wants it. Perfectly fine. I'm happy to give it to you. It's useful. Have a policy. We have written policies. We have, for our own classes. I have lots of them. We've worked on. So if anyone wants any of that, that's fine. This is just what's on the AMRF form. I think this is not the AMRF form. It's 2 pages. So all you have to do is put the student's name and number, student number, and then my name, and then what they supposedly did wrong. And then I put the sanctions, and then I put the evidence, and then they have all this other stuff they can do. So doesn't take very long. It's time consuming to do this stuff because you don't want, students not to be learning. But on the other hand, it's not that hard here. All right, then I'm not even going to get into this. We know what this is. I'm sure we're going to hear more about it. This is the few AI ChatGPT detectors. Right now, I like Originality AI. I've used Winston. I've used some of these, not all of these, but some of them, many of them. I like Originality because it keeps all your scans. And if you go back and because teachers send me their papers a lot and I put it through the scan and then I send it back, the report takes about 1 minute. And then they can use it as their preponderance of evidence. So an AI detector is not definitive, of course, but if you have two that say, at least two that say this is plagiarized or this is all AI, whatever it says, then you have that along with their writing sample, which doesn't look like their essay or whatever piece of writing they turned in that was AI, and any other information, including what they say. What they say is always best because they if they trust you or feel comfortable, they usually just give up. They just say, and I'm going to be honest with you. I've heard that quite a few times. So, okay. That's all I have to say about that. I'm going to, can you put can I do it? I want to put my first slide back up. I guess I'll just so that if anybody would like sorry. Okay. If you need to put a paper through something for you, look at it myself, talk to me about any other, I have a lot of, documents that will support, hopefully, students not using AI in ways that we don't want them to use them. Let's just put it that way. Okay, that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mimi, for sharing all of that. You see right now, Mimi has her contact information up there. That's great because I was going to ask you to share it in the chat otherwise for people to follow up. We did have some questions come through the Q&A. So first up, Mimi, Wes said he's heard some good things about GPT-0 for detecting AI plagiarism, and that was on your list. How effective is that one?
I've only seen someone else use it, actually. I don't know how effective that one is. I only know the ones that I've really, really used. And the one I used for a long time was Winston, and I don't think it's as effective anymore. So I'm not positive about that. And is it paid or is it not paid? I can't remember either. But I'm not sure if he does. So I'm sorry. Don't have the answer to that particular question.
In terms of how effective it is, but
yeah, exactly.
The one you mentioned earlier, you found has become less effective.
Winston, I think, is a little less effective. Maybe other people think something different, but I think Originality is the best one that I've seen so far. Originality AI.
Great.
But it is paid.
Yeah, and if you have had experience, those of you who are joining us today, and you want to put in the chat any experience you've had to share with others, please feel free to do that. We have a couple of other questions. You may have covered this in your talk a little bit already, but we have a question. What do you recommend specifically that our writing tutors should do when they know that a student has used AI? What's your recommendation for the protocol that tutors should specifically follow? I
think it's the same. It's kind of the same thing. I mean, the first thing I would do if I were tutored is talk to the student. Say, so what do you mean when you say, I don't know, whatever it is in their paper, and say, what do you mean? Where is this you? I say, is this you? Did you say this? And I say, what do you mean by it? And talk to and then same thing that I said before. Like you can say, look, you can't, you could report it. You can tell the student you're not going to go over the paper with them. I don't know how much the tutors are seeing this. I think they're probably seeing it a lot, but I feel like most of the people who are doing this aren't going to the tutors, really, because they don't want to be caught 2 times, right? Like they might be caught at the end, and I could be wrong. I'd love to hear more from the tutors about it.
Great.
And you can always send it. If your tutor or whoever said that, you can always send anything to me and just ask me about it or just talk to me about it. I'll talk to the student, any student you want. Perfectly fine with me.
That's wonderful. That's an open invitation to the tutors from Mimi. to communicate and collaborate. Thank
Yes,
you, Mimi. We had a
thank you.
couple other questions here. George did comment on this one. Is AI able to process images attached to questions? George commented that paid versions of most of the consumer AI tools can process images very well. Did you have anything to add to that, Mimi?
About images, no, I don't have anything to add to that. That I know that's true, the paid versions, yes. But I don't know. I mean, I'm always looking at text and writing because that's my thing, but I'm sure that's true. And I did have a complaint 2 days ago that someone said, can you put she couldn't put her PowerPoint through, and she was sure that the whole thing, all the writing and all the images were AI generated. And, she figured that out. I was going to figure it out for her, but then she ended up saying, no, she's getting a D anyway because she didn't do the assignment. And wasn't really answering it, whatever. Wasn't really answering the questions and the assignment or something.
All right. And one final question for you, Mimi. Do any of the detectors provide evidence that they don't discriminate against ESL or non-neurotypical students? Or do they all just say that it's up to you to use them responsibly and they take no responsibility for their use?
Are you talking about the AI detectors? Is the person talking? Did she say detectors?
Yes. Do any of the detectors provide evidence that they don't discriminate against ESL
No,
or non-neurotypical?
I don't know. Maybe George knows if they provide evidence for it. I don't know if they provide evidence, but one thing I like about originality is there's a 24-hour chat. You can just, if you have a question and you think there's any question you want to talk to them about the thing, you can definitely just what's happening. But you can definitely talk to them right then. So that's helpful. You could ask them that question. I will ask them that question, in fact. But
Just
here's
to
the
add to
thing.
that, they do hand wave a lot, and
Yeah.
so that the responsibility is up to you.